Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess and today I just wanted to talk about spring and what we want to do with our plants, what I'm doing with my plants as we come into spring now. So I'm going to get straight into it. So as it's coming into spring now, I have just started going around my plants. I'm looking at things like the roots, so I'm looking for signs of root rot. So for example, I've had one plant that I was watering the other day and I noticed that one of the vines was really almost squishy at the soil. So for example, with that, I took it out of the soil and that vine was completely rotted away. So I took all of it out of the soil because I really wanted to check on the roots. And it did have root rot for most of it. So I'll show you that one now. It's my Philodendron Brazil. This is some of the cuttings from it. So for the vine that was rotted, I cut it back to where it wasn't rotted and it was fine, and I was happy that it was no longer going to rot on me. I let it callus over through the whole day and then popped it in some water to propagate. With the rest of it, I put it in this jar. I cleaned off the, I don't know if you can see, I cleaned off the roots as best as I could and took any squishy roots off, anything that looked a bit suspect. So I left the roots that were, they looked fine and they looked like healthy, and cut off the rest. And I've left it in this soil to water to propagate and hopefully get some more roots on it. And then once this has got a bit more established in the root system again, yeah, I will go ahead and pop this back up. This was a few days ago now and I can already see I've got some water roots coming. They will come through really white, and the roots that were in the soil are a bit dirty at the moment, so they will stand out a lot. So this is half of it, and the other half I chopped up into lots of little propagations, and then yeah, just popped it in water and hopefully it doesn't die on me. So carrying on with propagation, a lot of my plants, I guess, we're getting a bit wild. So I've cut some back, and there's some where the roots are getting really tiny. So on my Philodendron micans, as you can see, the roots were getting super small. And I actually want to do the Plant Life in the Tropics wood board for it, so I wanted to chop it right back and encourage some big growth to go up. So I'm sure there'll be another video on that soon. But yeah, so I've just got loads of little jars around at the moment going into spring, and then hopefully in a month or so they'll be nice and rooted up and ready to be potted up. Another thing I tend to do when it goes into spring, winter, you just ignore your plants. I do anyway, you just water them every now and then because they're not really growing all that much. They get very dusty. I've been going around my plants and dusting them all off, so especially anything with really big leaves like this Philodendron, I think this is Imperial Red, was extremely dusty. So when I dust all my leaves down, I like to do it using a neem oil mixture. So I use neem oil, like a gentle, I just use baby soap and warm water, shake it all up and it will all mix together. I then just get a cotton wool pad and just gently go over the top of the leaves and the bottom. So I do that because it helps avoid pests. It is a pest preventative neem oil, so I like to just go over with the neem oil, and then if any pests do come on, helps a little bit with those little things. And it makes the leaves super duper shiny, as you can see. So I am actually currently going around all my plants now, doing that, cleaning all the leaves. I am a sucker for the plants with lots of little leaves, or like a pothos or anything like that. I end up just ignoring it, and I never dust it because the leaves are small and you can't really tell. But this summer, spring, I've started going around them and dusting them as well, and they are very dusty even if you can't tell. So I would recommend that as well, because I'm one that will just ignore those. Yes, I do that a lot. I'm a sucker for that. Yeah. Also, going into spring, summer, you'll notice lots of growth. I am now end of March going into the beginning of April, and all of my plants are starting to go mad. So they want to grow, and it's good to try and help them grow. So I use fertiliser. I will use, over the winter, I actually use very diluted form of fertiliser, just because some on the plants that are growing, if they're growing, I will still fertilise them, but over the winter it's very diluted. So in spring I use, as it says on the bottle, I use the liquid gold leaf on mine. So I've started using this. I ordered this around December time, which I started fertilising some of my plants straight away, like the ones that were growing, and now over the last month I've been using this every 2 to 3 waters. Obviously some of your plants will need less than others, less water than others, because there's lots of soil in there and you don't water it as much. So yeah, I tend to go on every 2 to 3 waters, so I'll fertilise and then just normal water and then fertilise. Especially on the plants that are growing a lot, I would tend to fertilise. This is so good. Before I was using Baby Bio, and I have for about 6 years I'd say, and as I said, I started this in December and my plants go mad already, which I love. So yeah, would recommend this, but obviously it doesn't matter too much. Even when I was using Baby Bio, I was still getting lots of growth on my plants, but it's completely up to you. It depends what you prefer using. I know some people use like worm castings or fish emulsion as dress toppings and things like that. So yeah, it just depends on you and your plants and, you know, all that jazz. Repotting, I've started slowly going around all my plants and checking out the roots. I've got almost 100, so it takes a while. Some of them are fine and they don't need repotting, but I just tend to take them out of pots, see what the roots look like. Some of mine, I do tend to leave them a little bit root bound, and I might not pot them out straight away. I've noticed some plants do quite like being pot bound, like my pothos and plants like that, they do quite like it. And also my my bird of paradise likes to be quite root bound. It's putting out a new leaf now. I will check back up on it in a month or two and see what the roots are like. With this, I tend to notice that when it is getting, because the roots on this get massive, they get huge. So I like to, usually you can kind of tell, like last year when this was getting extremely root bound and I knew it was time to pot up, was because it was pushing like upwards and it was no longer like in the pot properly. So yeah, I suppose sometimes your plants will tell you if they need it or not, and sometimes if your plants seem like they're doing fine and they're root bound and they're still putting out loads and loads of growth, just leave it, I suppose. They will tell you when they're struggling as well, so it just depends. You've got to learn your plants and find out what your plants like. Yes, tea. Growth. spring is coming, your plants are growing loads. I know I had some that last year I had vining. But this year I've got really into moss poles and want all my plants to grow up. So for example, I had my Monstera Addisonii. I actually had 2 of these. And I did want a really nice bushy plant, so I potted them up together and made them this cute little moss pole, and I'm trying to encourage them to grow up it, because I would really love for these leaves to start to get really big and mature. So yeah, with the moss pole, I've started making my own, just because I enjoy stuff like that, and I just think they're better than the ones you buy in the shops. So to encourage it to grow up, I just use some like string twine, and whenever a new leaf comes out, just sort of pop it on with some thread, and the newer aerial roots will find their way into the moss and then attach themselves in. So you just got to keep an eye on them, and when there is new growth, be straight on it, putting them against the moss pole, and then they will slowly start to climb up. I have found that when you want your plants to climb upwards, the leaves do get bigger. If you have them trailing, they get smaller. Especially found this with my Monstera Addisonii. They were getting so small. The leaves, I've got another one in the living room. I have trailing down, and I like it. It's quite leggy, but I quite like that look for that one. But this one I wanted nice, big, bushy, and those really nice big leaves. So I'm hoping this summer this will be so nice, and I'll be able to give you updates on it. But yeah, this one is one that is just pushing out leaves. I mean, it was probably half as tall when I put it in the pot. So it is loving it, and yes, we will see how this goes. I can't wait. I've got loads of plants on moss poles this year. I only had one before, which was my golden pothos, and it's gotten so tall, and last year it got to the top of the moss pole and then it was just hanging over, and I kept cutting it back and cutting it back. I took probably 5-6 lots of cuttings off of it, just because it kept growing, and I want it to get really nice and tall, and hopefully those leaves to get really big. So I'm extended that moss pole so it's nice and tall. It looks a bit strange at the moment because there's just a big pole hanging out the top of it, but it will be so worth it because by the end of summer it will hopefully be up on that moss pole nice and tall, and it will be beautiful. I can't wait. So yes. Another thing I tend to do, so the end of summer last year, it started getting really dark. I have a plant shelf like this one, but a double one in my living room. My living room can be quite dark half the day because the sun comes up this side of the house, the flat, in the morning, and it's kind of light in here all day because it's such a big window. The living room is a smaller window. It's weird positioning, it's off to one side, so it can get quite dark in there, apart from it gets to around 1 o'clock and the sun starts coming through the window, which is lovely. So summertime last year I had it over the other side of the room, quite far away from the window, because when the sun comes down in the summer it gets so bright in there, and obviously I didn't want my little leaves to be burning. Winter, I moved it directly next to the window, so it's in front of the window, because winter in England you basically get no sun. So I thought it would be fine. I just wanted it to, you know, get as much light as possible. I also got my first grow lights for that. You know, encourage them, give them light, don't want them to die over winter. My flat does get extremely cold over winter time. It takes ages to heat up, and it's very dark in the living room. So I've moved those to the window. Now summertime's coming, spring is here. It is sunny quite a lot of the time now, trying to be. I have got a sheer curtain in front of that window, so when the sun does come around I close that curtain halfway over, so where the plants are don't have that indirect light, but it's still, it it's getting to the point now where I need to move them back away from the window, which I would really recommend doing. Moving them away so they've got bright light, but it's still indirect. You don't want direct sunlight on your leaves. Personally, some of my plants I found have done absolutely fine. I've not had any problems with them being in direct sunlight. So like my bird of paradise plant, that is in the window, on the windowsill all year round, getting direct sunlight for hours and hours a day, and it just keeps giving me new leaves. Doesn't seem to mind it at all, which is great. Another one, I've got a very large Monstera deliciosa, and that last summer I had right in front of the window. The rays were coming in onto it and it didn't have any problems. It never burnt anything. It seemed to really like it. So some of your plants I found will be fine with direct sun, like my cactuses. They are fine with direct sun. Obviously it depends where you are and how direct and bright your sun is, how strong it is, but you will slowly learn what your plants need, which ones like what. Yes, you will have some casualties from winter. I know I have. My poor angel wing begonia is having a moment. I'm going to show you. Just shows, just because you're a plant person doesn't mean all your plants are going to survive. So my angel wing begonia is having a moment. I will insert a picture somewhere on the screen of how it looked last summer. It had grown like triple the size since I bought it. It was beautiful, it was massive, it was getting so big I had to prop it up because it was falling over, and winter came and I could not work out what was happening. I think it was to do with humidity. Humidity wasn't great in my flat over winter time. I just kept getting all these really crispy leaves and they just kept falling off and dying. So I decided to cut this one right back, and I've taken so many cuttings off of it, and I'm going to see if this bounces back, and if it doesn't, it's going. I'm moving house in around a month's time, so I'm like, any plant that's not okay is just, it's gonna be so much hassle to take it with me, so I'll just give it away to friends or family, see if anybody wants this. As I've said, I've taken so many cuttings from it. This is one bunch, so I've got 3 in here. And then I've got 2 more pots like this, so I have got a lot of propagations and they seem to be doing really well. You can see in there that there are roots now forming, so I think it'll be fine. These ones, as I said, I'm moving the end of May, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing with any of my plants. I've been selling some will be coming with me, but like things like this, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a 3-hour drive to transport everything, and I've got a lot of plants, so will these be okay just left in water and transportation for 3 hours? I don't know. I guess we will see. I might do a moving vlog sort of thing, just show you how I transport my plants. There are a lot, so it will be quite hard, and a lot of them have got really big now, so it'll be fun. But yeah, so at the moment I've got a lot of propagations. I need to stop taking them because, as I said, I'm moving and it's just going to be a pain to transport everything. So yes. So this is what I do when it starts getting into spring and you see your plants start to grow again. Everybody will do different things. As I said, you will learn from your plants. The longer you have them and the more you go through, you will just learn what different plants need. So yes, thank you for watching my video today. I hope you all have a fabulous day. Don't forget to like or don't like, depending on how you feel, and subscribe to my channel.